All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, it is time to revisit OP07 Rob Lucci. That's right, guys. We have not checked out this leader in some time now on the channel. But I'll tell you one thing. For those who might have been concerned on whether or not Rob Lucci was still going to be any good without the Gecko Moria bans, or excuse me, without Gecko Moria after the bans and without Ice Age, let me tell you right now, I think Rob Lucci is going to be doing just fine. And we are going to explore that in today's video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this, guys. Let me lay out the video real quick for you. First things first, we're going to head over to the deck list. We're going to break down what we're running today. It's actually a list that I got from the East that I modified very slightly. And then after that, we're going to head over to the sim. We got 5 games on the sim. And then we'll finish up the video by going back over the deck list. And I'll tell you guys what I think about the list moving forward. Okay, so you know what you're getting into. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description. And I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and things like that in the comments section below. And if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. Now, one more thing I do have to mention real quick before we launch into this is we will be having a Win-A-Box, a free-to-enter Win-A-Box tournament this Sunday, okay, at the time you're recording this. Okay, so it's going to be on the 27th. Let me get the, I actually made a little slide for that. There it is. Okay, this Win-A-Box Locals on Discord. Now is pretty much like your last chance to sign up if you have not already, if you're interested. It's going to be on the 27th. It's going to take place at 6 p.m. Eastern, $0 entry fee. Last time I checked, I think we had 60 players signed up for this. So it's going to be, hopefully it has a pretty decent turnout and everybody shows up that signed up. But otherwise, it is still for a Win-A-Box no matter what. Big shout out to our sponsors, JT Dragon and Big Bear. Like I said, basically, at the time you're recording this is like your last chance to really sign up for it if you are still interested, if you didn't already know about it. Okay, and one more thing I want to mention about this is this will happen 6 p.m. Eastern. At the time you're recording this, it will literally be tomorrow. Okay, so with that in mind, I believe I will be streaming it. Okay, so be looking out for that if you don't want to play in it. And it is an online version. It's like sim only, if I'm not mistaken. If you want more information on that, hop on the Discord. Link is in the channel description and ask on there. Okay, now, let's do this, guys. Let's hop into today's video. Okay. So first thing we have to do is we have to check out the deck list we're running today. And I'm going to leave the leader on the screen this time because that way it's easier for you all to see it anyway. But I'm going to read it on the left here. When attacking, this is a 5,000 power, 5 life mono black leader from OP07. CP0 is the type. It has, when attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck and then give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost this turn. Okay. Very, very powerful effect here. Now I can remove the leader so we can get more into this list. But it is a very powerful effect because it keeps filling up your trash consistently by 2 cards every turn. And then it's also giving -1 cost for the turn. So you're going to be able to combo that very effectively with cards like Brook here, and we're going to go over these cards in just a second, but cards like Brook, cards like Kuzan, Rob Lucci, Jack, and Kuzan for that matter. And notice this list is even running Garp and stuff like that. We'll break this down in a minute, but just know right away, guys, that this leader effect right here, very, very powerful. It is subtle, but powerful, okay? Now, let's do this, guys. Let's break down the deck list. We're running 4 Brook, 2 Laboon, 4 Kuzan, 4 Suru, 4 of the 10 cost Kuzan. We have to talk about this real quick before we even go any further. Excuse me. Be sure to hop on TCG Player or wherever you get your cards from. If you plan on playing black in the future, this is a card you probably need to snatch up as soon as possible. I think it's still relatively affordable. I'm actually going to bring it up over here on my other monitor real quick. Excuse me, and I'll bring it over so you guys can see where it's sitting at. It has seen a jump in price ever since decks over in the East have started to show this card off and do well with it. Okay, so again, I'm going to bring that over now just so we can kind of get an idea here. Yeah, look at this, guys. Don't let this fool you where it says $3 here and $2.66 here. Looks like the card's really running for about $10. If you do not already have your, you can get either one of these. They're the same. One's a reprint, one's an original. $14 for the original, $10 for the reprint. I would snatch these up as soon as possible, guys. Emergency update on, Market Watch here. Snatch these up as soon as possible because these are secret rares and they have already been reprinted. So don't count on this being reprinted in PRB02 if, whenever that comes out. This is a PRB01 reprint. If you do not have your playset of these cards, now is probably the time to get them if you plan on playing black anytime in the near future here. Okay, guys? Had to get that out of the way real quick. Now, back to the deck list here. Sorry we had to interrupt that. Excuse me. Sorry we had to interrupt that, but that had to be said right up front there. So 4 Kuzan, 4 Bartolomeo, 2 Monshri, 4 Rebecca, 4 Lucci, 4 Jack, 4 Tashigi, 2 Garp, guys. 2 of the 5-cost Garp here. 2 Uda, 2 of the 4-cost Shirahoshi blocker that does -4 cost on play, 2 of the 0-cost 6 King pistol, and 2 Tempest Kick. Now, the version that I'm running right here today, I actually copied offline, and this is what it looked like. It looked exactly like this right here, and then, of course, add the leader to it. Let me type in 0 so we can bring the leader back. This is exactly what it looked like when I copied it over into the over into the sim, and I got this off, I believe it was gumgum.gg or OnePieceTopDecks.com, and it was a list that went 5-0 recently, and it looked exactly like this. And the only thing that I chose to do, I'm going to move the leader so we can see this all, is I moved my, I didn't want the random Absalom. Not to say it's a bad card, but I didn't want that card. I got rid of that, and I added a second 6 King pistol. That's the only thing I modified from this list. Otherwise, I did not create this. I just made one slight modification. Now, let's go ahead and break down what each one of these cards do. You know, Brook, of course, is good for, you know, repeatable KO, okay, and it has cost reduction built in. Laboon, cost reduction. Kuzan, both Kuzans are cost reduction, and the 10-cost Kuzan also KOs on play, whereas the 4-cost one draws a card on play. So these are very high-impact cards if you think about it. You're playing out a 4-cost 5k, you're drawing a card to replace the card you just lost in your hand, and if they don't deal with it, you're reducing cost by 4 every time you attack with it. The 10-cost Kuzan, pause and read this if you don't know what it does, but this is a blanket -5 cost for the rest of the game on your turn. You know, they have to deal with this card, or you will just remove everything with cards like Brook and Jack. You'll just eat up their entire board, or even cards like Rob Lucci here, 4 cost. I mean, think about it. This card is already good the way it's already good as is, the way it's printed, as a 4-cost, 6,000 power character that can KO a 2 or less and a 1 or less. If you have Kuzan down, you're hitting a 7 and a 6, or even more than that if you combo it with like your leader attack or any other kind of effects on the board like this Uda that we'll talk about in a minute, or even just, you know, attacking, you know, using this Laboon or attacking with Brook or using this Kuzan. If this card sticks, the game is basically over. And with the way the meta is going right now, the way that the meta is shaping up in OP10 and going into OP11, now bear in mind, this is an OP11 list that we can run right now in OP10. There are no new cards in here or anything like that. This is an OP11 list that can be used in OP10. Excuse me. And it is very, very powerful. So, you know, if this card sticks, though, it is game over. It is lights out for your opponent, because you just start ripping their board into pieces. He's a 10,000 powered body, so you can attack into anything on the board. It's probably going to go. And the things that are too big, you don't really want to deal with. Think about it. So this KOs, this does -5 cost to the entire board on your turn permanently, right? Now, if you swing in with your leader, that's -1 more, and then a card like Garp now can KO 10 or less characters just by tapping it sideways and trashing a card. Or even Jack can KO a 9 or less just by tapping it sideways. You know, it's just absolutely insane, guys. It becomes this card is like the new centerpiece for how Black is being built from what I've seen. It's just, okay, KO everything you can along the way. Just get to your 10 on turn and start chaining these 10-cost Kuzans together. And like I said, if your opponent can't deal with this card, they will never stick a character ever again. And since we're running Rebecca, we can pull back almost all the cards in this deck, to be honest, guys, other than the really big cards here. Actually, honestly, this Rebecca in this deck can pull back everything that matters with like 3 exceptions. It cannot get back a 10-cost Kuzan, a Suru, an Uda, or a Monshri. And of course, it never could get back events. Yeah, that's different. It can't get back the events. But it also, you know, hang on, it cannot get back the Uda. And is that it? I feel like, am I missing something? Suru, Uda, Kuzan, Monshri, and the Vince. Yeah, and everything else I believe it can get back, unless I missed something. Y'all bear with me. But yeah, this Rebecca Monshri combo here, you're just going to start recycling this card nonstop. So Rebecca can get back anything that's really relevant in this deck, and then Monshri can start getting back the Rebeccas. So you start filling your the bottom of your deck back up with cards like Monshri and with cards like Lucci. And then you recycle everything you need with Rebecca. So as soon as your first Brook hits the trash and your first Rebecca, your Monshri's online now, and you're just going to keep bringing the Rebecca back, which brings back cards like, you know, the Brook or 2K counters. You know, you have Bartolomeo in here, so 2K counter and a blocker. Tashigi, 2K counter block, or 2K counter and cost reduction. And then Suru, we can't get back, of course, with the Rebecca or the Monshri. Monshri can only get a cost 3 to 5 back, but that's fine, right? It doesn't really matter because Monstry is going to bring back Rebecca, which brings back all this other stuff that we need. And recycling Lucci is no joke in here, guys. It's actually very, very strong, especially, like I said, if you stick a Kuzan. I mean, think about if your follow-up play, so if you slam down Kuzan and they fill the board out with like a 5 cost and a 4 cost or a 6 and a 7 or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? So your follow-up play ends up being like, okay, attack with my leader, -1 cost there. Now, play out in one turn, you can literally go, okay, Monstry, for 1, and then pay 1 to use the effect, bring back a Rebecca from your trash, play out the Rebecca, pull back a Rob Lucci from your trash, and maybe, you know, play out a card from your hand if you have an extra card, and then for the remaining 4 Dawn, play out the Rob Lucci you just pulled back with Rebecca, and KO whatever's on the board. It just becomes an insane amount of value, and again, it all revolves, though, around this one card. Very powerful. What else? So we went over Rob Lucci a little bit. Jack and Brooke are the main KO engines in this deck, and remember, both of these cards you can get back with Rebecca. Guys, Rebecca can get back a 3 to 7 cost card. Yes, Jack on the board is an 11 cost card, but this is technically a base cost of 7. Okay, so Rebecca can get Jack back if needed. Now, you can't play that in one turn, obviously, because it's a excuse me, guys, my throat's going crazy. This is a 4 cost and this is a 7 cost, so you can't just play them out in one turn, unfortunately, but it's still very, very powerful. Okay, Garp, this is an ST06 card. Activate main, trash 1 card from your hand, and rest this character to KO a 4 or less. So you do tap this card down, you trash a card from hand to KO a 4 or less. So this card it always had a lot of potential, you know, all the way, even back in the day in ST06, but it never quite made it there. It was never like this card we could just run as a 4 of and just get away with it, right? But with this deck, guys, number 1, we do have a lot of bricks in this deck, and number 2, he acts as like a 5 cost 6,000 power character that's also a pseudo blocker, and it's a 6,000 power character, so it's a lot easier to defend than your leader, right? So it has that value, and guess what? I mean, another card you can pull back from the trash with Rebecca, a 5 cost Garp, and you can play that in the same turn. If you had to, like I said, after establishing something like a Kuzan, okay, on your next turn, play out Rebecca, pull back the Garp, play out something else from your hand if you can, if you have anything extra, but then with your remaining 6 Dawn, play out the Garp and have 1 Dawn extra, and you're KOing a 9 or less now. It just becomes this insane removal engine. You're KOing anything you want in the game as soon as this card sticks. Uda is just a very high value card. This is kind of like the new stage that can also swing later in the game. It's a 2 cost 3k. This character cannot be KO'd by battling against a leader, okay? Like, your opponent can attack into this character all they want to with their leader. It will do nothing. They're immune to it. Okay, and then activate main, rest this card, and give -2 for the turn to a character. So you can combo that with a lot of different effects in here to get a lot of value. So really good stuff here. Very strong card. And then we have 4 cost Shirahoshi here. This is a 4 cost 0 power 1k counter blocker with on play give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 cost for the turn. So it basically does the when attacking effect of Kuzan on play. Okay, and then it's a blocker on top of that. And guess what? This is a card you can get back with Rebecca if you need to, because Rebecca can pull back a 3 to 7 cost. It just can't play it out off the effect because it's a 4 cost. It can only play out a 3 cost or lower. Okay, so really good stuff here. Running 2 of the 6 King pistols because we are running a lot of bricks in here, guys. Let me see. 4 Lucci, 4 Jack, 4 Kuzan, 4 Kuzan, 4 of these cards right here. So, I mean, it's like 22 bricks or something like that in the deck if you count the Tempest kicks. So there are a lot of bricks in this deck. I think your 6 King pistol is... I think it's very necessary. But hey, I mean, there are ways to cycle cards out in here. We are running Jack, of course. We are running the Garp and the 6 King pistol. So we do have ways to, like, trash cards from our hand and cycle. It's not too bad in that way. Okay, well, that's about it, guys. That's the entire deck list. Let's go ahead and hop into some games on the sim now so you guys can see this deck in action. Okay, so first game up. Let me go full screen here. Let me go, let me see if I did this right. Okay, close enough. We'll move the leader afterwards. There we go. So first game up here, we got a game versus Jory Bonney. So the volume is off. Let me make sure the speed is on 2x. It is, and here we go. Okay, I kept that hand. That's correct, guys. I kept the hand you see right here. Because with this hand right here, I am going to demolish every single relevant card this Bonney is going to play this game. Every one of them. Now, I will say this, generally speaking, black does have a very good matchup into green. It kind of naturally always has. That's why they had to print cards like Rosinante and the 3 cost 2k counter Tashigi. But here's the thing. It doesn't change much, right? I mean, I still have a lot of very strong answers. So notice what I'm doing here. I'm swinging for 5s. I'm filling up my trash with my leader, and I didn't have any other play to do. And then on my second turn here, I swing for 5 and establish Garp. Now, whatever they play out, I'm going to remove. They're swinging in. I'm saving all of my counter power for their board. To defend my board. I'm getting rid of all the counter power I can. Or I'm saving all the counter power I can. Sorry, guys. Got that mixed up. So now we're going to play out the Jack here. We didn't want to use the Garp to remove the Rosinante. We wanted to use the Jack because that way we don't lose a card technically. Okay, now what does he want to do? He's going to go 7 into 12. Well, here you go, bud. 2K, 2K, 1K. Yep, you're not getting that. And now I've got terrible news for my opponent here. We're going to just play Jack and pass the turn. They're never going to have a character for the rest of the game. So from this point on, they will never have a character for the rest of the entire game. That is unfortunate for them, but hey, it is what it is, right? You know, that's what happens sometimes. So right here, I do have to do a little bit of thinking. Let me say this right now. This was my first game. If I'm not mistaken, this was my first game playing this new version of the list. I had to do a little bit of counting, like, wait a minute. Okay, so if I swing in 4 or 5 here, I'll fill up 2 of my trash, of course, but -1. So now that's an 8-cost Zoro. Okay, well now, when I play out my Kuzan, he drops by 5 more and he's down to 3. Now I can use my Jack, and then I'm going to swing for 6. And guys, look at this board. I mean, this board is disgusting. If I were Bonney, I would literally be dropping down Hody Jones if I have them in hand and just going everything at my face right here. There's no other option. All these cards are gone, right? Like every card you see on the board's gone right now. I'm going to let him have the Garp. I don't need that anymore. But here we go. Okay, now we have a Kuzan coming in as well. I'm just going to tap this to cycle cards. I'm trying to fix my hand as much as possible, getting 2K counters in hand, and then playing cards out. I could have KO'd a card and had another attack at life here. I'd rather just establish my board here, though, and fix my hand a little bit so that I have no chance of losing this game. Okay, well, they've got a Brook on the board here, so we're going to swing for 11. They can rest down a Jack. And then I think they technically should have rest down my leader, by the way, because then I'd have had to use some cost reduction from hand. I'm just saying, I don't think it matters either way here. We're not even going to go for a game because now, watch this, just remove that card. I'll play out a blocker. I'll get back this card from hand. I won't even play out a card from my hand like the Brook. I'm going to play out the Kuzan to draw a card. I have a blocker. I have 2 life. There is no crawling back from this one for my opponent. And notice how, I don't know how else to say it, but notice how chill that game was. We're not worried about anything. Lucci, with this version of the deck, guys, this version of the deck has pretty much every answer you could ever hope for against a deck like Bonney. And like I said, if I'm the Bonney player in this situation, I think I just start slamming down Hody Jones as fast as I can. Let me say this, guys. If I'm playing Bonney right now against what we just experienced right here with this version of the deck, I think you actually do counter out aggressively, which is unlike Bonney. Typically, you don't counter at all. You sit behind a Eustace Kid. You're not keeping anything on the board. Like, look at this, guys. If he played out a Eustace Kid followed by a Rosinante, I would literally just tap my Jack and then tap my second Jack, and their whole board's gone, right? And that's not using any cards from hand. That's just my board interactions. So against this matchup in the future, I think you might have to counter out aggressively and just mulligan as hard as you can for something like Hody Jones, where you do take your own life, but then you're at least getting to swing in and attack as aggressively as possible into life, and try to put them on a clock or something like that. Because I can't imagine any other way of winning this matchup. If you guys can think of something, please say something in the comment section below. Okay, good game to my opponent there. Let's go ahead and go to the next game. I got a game against Red-Green Smoker. Volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. Yeah, I had a game against Bonney, Red-Green Smoker, Blue Doflamingo, Red Shanks, and Purple Luffy, guys. So we got some decent matchups here today. Okay, now this pull is not as good as my last one, in my personal opinion, but at the same time, watch what you can do right here as Lucci. Remember, guys, Tashigi can only save green characters, for those who are not aware. Tashigi can only save a green character, so I'm going to swing in for 5. I counter out of that last attack, so now I have 3 cards in my trash exactly, and we get rid of their board. We get rid of their whole board right here. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what they choose to do. They're on a 5 Dawn turn now. They're going to play out Smoker. Very nice. They'll stand 3 Dawn as active with the Smoker plus Leader's effect. They'll play out a Tashigi. Okay, now we're talking. That's a very powerful interaction against us, but let's see if it's going to be enough. We are on a 6 Dawn turn. I think going first would have helped us out big time because we'd have been going into a 7 Dawn turn otherwise. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and -1 cost to the Tashigi here. We're probably just going to go ahead and play out the Garp and just get rid of this Tashigi. We don't really have a better option here. We do have 2 6Ks on the board now, and I think they follow up with a Carrot, if I'm not mistaken, which seems like a good play. But honestly, I don't think it is. I think you should just go for... I mean, like, I'm not saying Carrot's a bad card, but in this matchup, you need to get my characters off the board as fast as possible, because I will eventually remove whatever you're using to lock me down, right? As a player running black, I can just get around it. So they're going to swing for 6. I'm going to 2K counter out. They swing for 5. We're going to take it. Beautiful. We get some more counter power here. And look at this, guys. I mean, I don't know what they're supposed to do here. This is a tough situation to be in. Now, here's the thing. Which card... All right, guys, pause. Pop quiz. I've been doing a lot of these pop quizzes lately. Hopefully you guys enjoy this as much as I do. The old teacher, you know, that old teacher side of me's coming out again. But hear me out. Which card would you prioritize here? So I can remove a card with GARP, right? I can remove any card that I want to on the board right now from them with a GARP here. Which one would you prioritize and why? So I'm going to, you know, pause and try to figure that out if you want to. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to get rid of Carrot. Carrot is locking down one of my characters, whereas the Smoker, yes, it does allow them to stand up an extra Dawn at the end of turn. That's, you know, or not at the end of turn, but just period. That is no joke, right? That is a very powerful effect. However, I don't really care about losing a character this turn, per se. I'd rather just get access to more of my characters, because that will punish my opponent from their actions from last turn going, you know, more aggressive in the face, right? Without getting rid of my board, it's like, okay, well, now you have to deal with this card again. Okay, so here we go. So let's see what I choose to do here. So it looks like, I think I'm going to swing 7 first, of course. Don't swing into the Smoker. That's an 8,000 power Smoker on the opponent's turn, right? So be careful with that. They're going to use the Kamakura Jutsushi here. I am going to just swing for 5 here. I was going to swing for 7, so it doesn't change my play, because I have to fill up my trash, and I have to use the effect of Smoker. And then my 5 cost play follow-up here is bye-bye to Carrot. We'll trash the other Jack here. I need to keep as much counter power in my hand as possible, because I am still scared of them trying something, you know, something crazy here, like maybe slamming down Hody Jones and going for my board. But I have to be careful. Pause. So they even had what I'm talking about. So they gave up a little early there. They're on their 9 Dawn turn this turn here. What they could have done in this situation, what I would have probably done is... See, they have the Tony Chopper in hand. I think the way that I would have dealt with this turn is you play out the Hody Jones, you stand up 3 Dawn as active, so that ends up being a 4 Dawn Hody Jones, right? So you still have 5 Dawn to work with, and I would probably play out the Virgo to do some searching. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Hang on, I would not do that. I would keep, so with the 5 Dawn, 4 Dawn is going to go to Tony Chopper. That's going on the board no matter what here. And then after that, I'm going to swing 7 into one GARP and 8 into the other, and then 6 into whatever's left with my leader. That is the way that I would have tried to deal with this turn. I do think they left a little bit early. I understand they were a little bit overwhelmed here, but at the same time, that's the way that I would have gone about it and tried from there. Now, again, I don't think it helps too much in the end, right? Because I still get to swing in with my leader next turn and do whatever. And what I could even do in this situation is if they get rid of... I think they can only get rid of 1 GARP in that situation, because it'd be swing 7 with the 5 cost Smoker, I 2K counter out. Swing 6 with the leader, I 1K counter out. And then whatever they swing into with the Hody Jones, it's gone, right? Yeah, that card's going to be gone. However, when they play out the Tony Chopper, I can just get rid of it with the GARP that I saved and just go 16 at face, right? Now, let's see if they could have gotten out of that. Let's see if they could have gotten out of that. So they would have had to play out the Chopper to do the interaction we're talking about. So the Chopper would not be in their hand. And then they have a 2K, 4K, 5, 6. Okay, so never mind. No matter what, they're not getting out of it this turn. They're not going to make it out of this turn alive. So I guess they didn't leave prematurely. But I would have at least tried, right? I mean, you know, at least try in that situation. Good game to my opponent. Again, green matchup is very hard. You know, or excuse me, against black, green has a very strong time against the black matchup right now. Okay, good game to my opponent. Let's move on to the next one. All right, now we got a game versus Doffy. Excuse me. So when it comes to this game right here, I will say my opponent might have been a little bit new. I'm just going to be honest. I still think that Lucci has a pretty solid matchup into Doffy, but there's going to be some plays you're going to notice, or at least that you should notice in this game, that were very suspect, you know, to say the least, where it's like, okay, maybe they weren't playing quite correctly. Okay, they 2K counter out is fine, but watch what they search up with this Sengoku here. We do have to talk about this. I think I revealed on the side, so get ready to see it on the right of my screen here. So they're doing a Sengoku search. And like I said, guys, they were taking a little bit of time. I do have it on speed 2x. Okay, they get a Martial D Teach. So the natural follow-up this turn should have been play out the Martial D Teach, use the effect, put the card into the top of the deck that they need, and then play out from there. Instead, they did a blind rip and got lucky enough to hit an Edward Weevil. So never even punished. but at the same time, I think that would have probably been the better play technically. But for this, like I said, they end up not getting punished at all because I was going to get rid of that Martial D Teach immediately. But now I have to do things a little bit differently. I have to throw some cards back in my trash, get rid of what's on the board, and go from here. Now watch this. This was the second hint that I had that this player might be new. Guess where they decide to attack with their Doflamingo here. Guess where they decide to attack. You guys already know, right? I already gave you too much of a hint here. 7 into 3. I'm like, hey, man, I'm just going to pass. I'm just going to take it because this character cannot be KO'd battling against a leader. So, whoopsie daisy. And they did say, whoops, I goofed on that one. And they hit me with a pudding. Seems good. So, again, never really punished there because, I mean, I guess they should have swung 7 at face, though. And then I would have probably 2K, 1K counted out to play around a pudding. Because, guys, let's at least look back at my hand real quick. I'm sorry, guys. We do have to go back real quick and watch this. So, pause. Notice in my hand right here, against Blue Doflamingo, you do need to play around pudding. And if he had swung for 7 like this at my face, not using the leader effect, by the way, not using the leader effect, if he had swung 7 into my face right here, I would have 2K, 1K countered out because I know for a fact he's trying to set up a pudding play. Otherwise, you always use your leader effect, especially after he just revealed to me that he has the 2-cost Martial D Teach in hand, right? With the Sengoku search, he showed that. So he does punish me here. I had a very, very good hand. He attacks in for 7. He does goof that a little bit. That's fine. And then, we get hit with the pudding here, and our hand does go down a little bit in value because we lost one very important card. We had one very important card in our hand. It was the 3-cost Brook, and now that's gone. Now, we do have a Garp to replace it. We had a Garp in the trash as well, so that's good at least. We do have something to replace it for now, but I would have much rather had the Garp. I would have much rather made a play here with, like, Rebecca into the Brook to get rid of this pudding because I could use attack with leader, -2 with Uda, swing in with Rob Lucci, play out the whole Rebecca play I just said. Okay, let's see what they choose to do here. I'm actually going to attack very aggressively here because I'm just... So my final play this turn is play out Garp. So it's swing 5, swing 6, play out Garp, and go from here. Okay. Excuse me. Let's see what they choose to do. They're going to counter out very aggressively. They're down to 5 cards in hand. I know one of them is still the Martial D Teach. I'm pretty sure I know that's still there. And here we go. My board's actually starting to look very strong. They have one card they cannot deal with. They cannot attack that Uda with what's on the board, like with their leader. So that card is safe, period. And it's getting tons of value, right? I just got to swing for 5 with it and get a card out of hand. I basically just paid 2 and made my opponent discard a card with a counter on it. Okay, now they're going to swing for 7, it looks like, with the effect here. Let's see what they choose to do. I think they put a Boa into life this turn, or excuse me, into the top of their deck this turn. I can't remember. No, it was a Trafalgar Law. Okay, so right here, they can actually just pull back the Trafalgar Law and bounce my Uda. Let's see if they choose to do that. Looks like that's going to be the play. They're coming in for 8 here. We're just going to take it. That's fine with us. Now they're going to play out another card for 4. Let's see what they choose to do. And that's where the Boa is. I was going to say, I could have sworn I remember seeing a Boa here. But guys, I have this this Monkey D. Garp on the board. So I can just KO anything they play this turn, right? I mean, whatever they played, I can just KO it now. Now I'm up to 9. I'm up to 9 Dawn. So even if they had gotten rid of my card here, I don't think it necessarily would have mattered because I can actually just, I can just deal with it very easily. So I'm gonna swing it for 6 here. What I was saying was, like, even if they had KO'd my Garp, I could pull that from the trash and do things from here. But we're going to do things a little bit differently. So we swing it for 6. They give me the Boa. Now I don't even have to do the combo that I was going to do there. Now I can actually just play out the Uda, play out the Kuzan for the rest of the turn. And now I'm not going to use I'm not removing Martial D Teacher. I think I'm going 6 in the face. Because let me tell you something right now, guys. I know a lot of people talk about how strong Martial D Teach is. And I guess it depends on who you're playing against, but I love having Martial D Teach on the board because now they're just throwing cards from their hand onto the board. It is cheaper. It is cheaper technically, like they're getting like a 2 Dawn discount on it, but I just don't care, right? It just doesn't matter to me because I'd rather them do that, right? That means, hey, you're putting cards into play sideways. I get to get never-ending value into your board, and we go about things from there. So right there, they made a mistake in my opinion, bouncing back the Garp and the Uda. I can understand why they did that. I think a lot of people are not used to seeing what I'm about to play. I think a lot of people don't know much about this 10-cost Kuzan in Lucci right now. This is the new, this is the new card to worry about, guys, is this new 10-cost Kuzan. So I'm going to swing for 5 into face here, -4 to your Kaido. I'm going to swing for 5 more into face with the leader, -1 more to your Kaido, and you better believe we're slamming down the Kuzan. So swing for 5, -1. That Kaido is now down to 5. play out the Kuzan, and it's out of here. That card's gone, and I have a 10 cost on the board. I do think he deals with this pretty much immediately with a red rock. Yeah, he does. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. I got the value that I needed there. He's pushed cards back into my hand. It would hurt here to get hit with another pudding because I do have 6 cards in hand, so it would technically, like, yeah, it would hit my hand. It would make me go negative in card, in cards from the effect, but still. I could get some other good cards from it, though. And now that I'm on a 10 Dawn turn, it is hard for my opponent to keep up with me. So watch this. This was the first big play mistake, in my opinion. So, first really big. The other ones were kind of like whatever. What he should have done there, so he played out the 10 cost Trafalgar Law from his deck. He set it there with his Marshal D Teach. That was fine. But watch this. He should have gone for 9 into my Kuzan, and then the Trafalgar Law comes into play. Now, before I get to declare a blocker, my opponent can bounce my Rebecca and his Trafalgar Law back to hand, and now that 9K coming into Kuzan, I can't stop it. I guess I technically could, right? 2, 2, 1. Yeah, I could get out of it if I wanted to, but that would have cost me 3 cards from hand that I probably would not have wanted to do, right? I would have probably not wanted to do that. However, he chooses to do this. This was the first major play mistake. The others were just kind of whatever, but this one was definitely a major play mistake. He attacks and I take it. Tempest Kick trigger off life. We just rip the 2-cost guy, the Marshal D Teach, and that's that. Okay, so we're going to swing in for 5. We're just poking, guys. I'm just going to get a full 10 Dawn turn here. Swinging in for 5. This is forcing cards out of my opponent's hand. Okay, we're going to play out. I should attack with my leader first. Hopefully I do this correctly here. Yep, swing for 7. Okay, I was just trying to see how much I was going to play out for the turn. So now we're going to play out a Rebecca. We're going to pull out a Kuzan, playing out the Brook. Now we're going to play out another Rebecca, pulling a Lucci, playing out the Uda. And my hand is completely stacked at this point, guys. I have 2 2Ks and a 1K in hand. One of them is a blocker. The 1K is a blocker. I have removal. I have card draw. My board is completely full, by the way. What are they going to do? Okay, this would be a cool play here if they can bounce like 2 cards back, or just 1 card back to hand and hit me with a pudding, maybe. That would have been a pretty killer play, actually. But at the same time, it doesn't fix the board state. They're in so much trouble, and I'm just going to block wherever they attack. Because I have another Rebecca in my hand now, so wherever they attack, I should pretty much just block. Just for pure value at this point, because we actually want to play out another Rebecca next turn and get more and more cards out of our trash, just recycle everything. Okay, so just waiting on my opponent here. They're deep in the tank right now. They're like, okay, is there any way for me to crawl out of this? I think the answer is no. If I'm not mistaken, they might give up on this turn, guys. And they made me wait for quite some time. They were doing the math right here. They're like, okay, how do I set up my cards? Notice I'm getting impatient. I'm moving my mouse all over the screen. I'm like, okay, come on, man. Just, choose your play and move on, or leave, or concede, or pass, or whatever you want to do. Let's see what you got here. So notice this. Here's the funny part about the situation we're in right now. If they could have somehow filled out the board, pause, so the game's over. If they could have somehow filled out the entire board from here, I probably could have gotten rid of every single card. I could have swung into whatever went in sideways from the leader effect. If they had 3 other cards that were active, they're all going to be gone as well, because I could attack in with my Kuzan. That's going to be -4 to 1 character, -2 with the Uda. My leader's another -1, and I can play out a 4-cost Rob Lucci and just rip 2 cards off the board like that. Another card from Brook. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like, at this point, there does reach a point in this matchup, they need a Gravity Blade. Gravity Blade Raging Tiger is the only answer they can really use right here to actually help them out, because here's what ends up happening. I can probably remove like 3 characters on the board at a time at this point in the game. So they're in a lot of trouble. Still, good game to my opponent. They end up tapping out there at the end because there was nothing more they could do this turn, and they couldn't survive on the attack in. Because, for those who are not aware, all that I have to do here is just swing for 7 with Kuzan, -4 to the Boa. They have to block with it, or I'll just KO it with the Brook when I attack. Or I could even play out the Shirahoshi from my hand and got rid of it that way. I had so many different options here, guys. It was just game over for my opponent. Good game to them. All right, we got 2 more games, guys. We got a game versus Shanks now. Shanks is showing up everywhere right now in the West, over in the OP10 meta. Very, very powerful leader. Very strong, very solid, very powerful. That's the word I've been using a lot lately. It's like I move over from one word. I used to use very solid a lot. Now it's very powerful. We got to find a new word, guys. We got to find a new word. Okay, so we're going to start off with an Uda. That's an ideal start for us. We are going going first as well. They play out a Tony Chopper. This card's not going to make it, guys. We're going to swing it for 6. Let's see what they choose to do. I expected them to use their leader effect and block with Chopper, but they do something very, very odd here. They do -1 to the Uda, and they just block out and take the hit and just get rid of Chopper. I don't know, guys. I don't have an answer for you. I have no idea what they were trying to do there. because I was just going to follow up with Kuzan. So, I mean, they would have the extra card here, but I'm not going to lie, it probably didn't matter too much in the end, because I'd rather them use blockers and stuff like that and use counters and whatnot later. I guess I could have swung into it, maybe. I have no idea. Anyway, so whatever the case is, they're going to swing in for 6 here and 6, so I'm going to 2K counter out of probably both of these. Might take one of them. Yeah, I do like to take one of these. Very nice. We do get the Tempest Kick trigger here. We're in the KO the Nami. Didn't really matter too much, but it's better than nothing. So we're on a 7 Dawn turn now. This is going to be very nice for us. We're going to swing for 6 minus 5 there. Might even play out something else. It depends on what my opponent does here. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're actually going to do something else here. Oh, I think we're going to pull the Brook. We're going to pull the Brook out of the trash. So we're going to go 6 into 6 here, and he has to give me a 1K counter, play out the Rebecca, pull out the Brook, KO it. We have a blocker now. Our board's starting to fill up. Guys, the board just starts filling up and filling up here. They're going to play out a Rayleigh. That's pretty good. And they're probably going to pop the Rebecca with the third part of the effect. Seems good. I think popping the Uda would have actually been the second best thing there. Watch this, guys. We're going to let that go. I thought he was going to go at Kuzan. I was going to save it, but he decides not to. That's fine with me. So now we're going to swing for just 2. I think blank with the Kuzan. I'm doing a little bit of math right now. I'm just doing a little bit of counting here. 4 plus 2 plus 1. That puts him down to 1. And let's see what happens. Okay. In fact, we're not even going to swing in with the Uda. We don't have to. We're going to play out the Jack here. We're going to trash the other Kuzan, getting rid of that Kuzan, and we're in good shape now. They play out the 10 call Shanks here. They go 5 into 5. Nope, you can't have... Sorry, bud, you can't have that, because I need that to remove your Shanks this turn. Swinging for 5, minus 1 there, or minus 4 there, rather. Swinging for 5, minus 1 there, filling up 2 cards in the trash. And oh, look at the card in my trash. I gave him a little bit of a spoiler here, what's coming now. Yeah, 10 cost Kuzan. I hope he has... I mean, I hope he doesn't, actually, right, if I'm the one playing. But he better have another 10-cost Shanks in his hand, or this game's over. There's nothing he's going to be able to stick on the board from here on. The rush cards do help him stay in this game. He's going to go 8 into 5 here. I think we're going to take this, and now he's going to go 7 into 5. Now, we're not going to take this, right? We're probably going to keep the Kuzan on the board here. Yeah, we gave him a 2K, and I think we gave him a 2K in the 0 cost, basically, a 0 cost 3K. And right here, we'll see what we choose to do here. Okay, we're going to use Kuzan, it looks like. Yeah, swing 6 into 5. Let's see if he wants to let this go and play a character out, because we have another Jack in hand. Seems good. All right, say bye-bye to that thing. We're going to attack in the face and everything first here. I don't want him to know I have the Jack just yet. So we're going to swing for 6. Then we're going to swing in for 10. He does use a guard point, because he knows he can't get out of the 10K attack. He's going to take this, of course, and then we're going to play out the Jack. We're going to draw a card, trash card. We have a lot of counter power in hand. We're probably going to get rid of the... Okay, we end up getting rid of the Shirahoshi here. The only thing I like about keeping the Shirahoshi is it's a blocker, but we do have another blocker in hand. The Bartolomeo is not just a 2K counter, guys. It's also a really solid utility blocker. They're going to do a Nami search. I think it's just too little too late at this point. They're going to have to go rush, rush, rush here, like dragon into dragon or something like that, like, you know, turn after turn. Because otherwise, I don't know how they're supposed to get through this. Okay, they're going to play out a Luffy here. They're going to swing for 6 and 6. I am getting out of both of these. I am definitely going to get out of both of these. In this situation here, a 5 and a 7 would be better because it would take me 3 cards to get out of every attack. So we're going to go 10 into 6 here. He lets it go, of course. I think what I should do here is I should keep attacking this turn. Like, just keep attacking and see if he gives me the blocker. Okay, we're going to swing in for 5 with the Uda. Let's see if he chooses to use the effect. He already did his leader effect on my leader. Okay, now we're going 6 into 6, minus 4 to the Nami. All right, now we're going for 7. Now we're going to go ahead and use the Jack here. Very nice. We got a Rebecca. We were going to play out that card. Now we're not. We're just getting a 2K counter, and this is lights out, right, guys? I mean, we have a blocker, 2 life, 6K counter in hand. He does have a Beckman. That's pretty good here. He's going to swing 8 into what? He's going to swing 8 in the face. I'm pretty sure I can finish him on the next turn, but I'd rather just not even take the chance and just give him 2 2K counters here and stay at 2 life. I'd rather not even give him the chance here, guys. And now from here, I think we are going to try to math him out of the game a little bit. We'll go minus 4 there. We're going to swing in for 10. And then we're going to swing for everything on the leader right here. And then if that does, if he somehow gets out of that, there's no way, right? I mean, it would take, so we swung for 11. If he used leader effect, he could 2K, 2K, 2K to get out of that. Then we could just swing in with Jack and it's game over. But worst case scenario, if we had to, we still had a fallback strategy. We had 2 cards in hand, right? Or excuse me, we had a 2K counter in hand and we had two cards in life. So what we could have done here is we could have still just used Jack to KO this card, trashing the Rob Lucci. We'd have drawn another Rob Lucci, but whatever. And then our top card is the top card of our life is a 0 cost, so we'd have 5K counter in hand at the very end there, and they had one. They would have their leader attack and whatever they drew for rush. So we were in a very good position there. Good game to my opponent. That was a pretty brutal control, like lockdown situation there. Again, guys, if you stick the 10 cost Kuzan on the board, they are in deep, deep trouble. Okay, one more game, guys. We got a game versus Purple Luffy. This was an interesting game here. Very interesting game. Volume's off, speed's on 2x, and here we go. I just have to remove every single character as much as I can in this matchup. Going first, I do like going first with this version of the deck, but going second's not exactly bad either. Okay, so they play out the, so we go turn 1 pass. We have no, this deck does not run Spandam, but it does run Monchery. This is our first time seeing it, guys. It's been in every single game. We just haven't really seen it. So we're going to play out the Brook to just clear up the board. We want to clear up our opponent's board every single turn that we can. They play out a Sangoro thinking, okay, this card's probably going to be safe. It's actually not going to be safe. -4 there. Swing for 5. KO that card. That Shirahoshi plus Brook combo. Outstanding. So we swing 5, we're burning cards from their hand, we're burning up their board. We just want to remove as many cards from the board as possible this game. Okay? So right here they have 7 Dawn here. I have to make a play here, so I do 2k counter out. Seems good. They're going to play out the Sangoro. Okay, so I have to look at my trash here because there was kind of like a play mistake in my opinion, but I want to see what's in my trash real quick. Because I believe there's a Shirahoshi in my trash. There is. So pause. Let me say something right now. If I did not have a Shirahoshi in my trash, the 4-cost Shirahoshi, that would have been a play mistake not blocking. I should have absolutely blocked that turn to get a Shirahoshi in my trash. But because I already have one in my trash, it's going to be just fine. Watch this play. Guys, what play would y'all make in this situation? I mean, I kind of gave it away, right? I kind of gave you guys a big hint here. I just need that Sangoro off the board. I don't care about that Luffy Taro. We have exactly 7 Dawn. Monchery is going to be a 2 Dawn investment to play it out, put some cards back to the bottom of the deck, play out the Shirahoshi, attach a Dawn to Brook, swing for 5, KO the card. He's losing cards like crazy. He has to keep countering out, or he's just not going to be able to win. Okay? And I will say that after that play right there, it made me want to go up to 3 or 4 Shirahoshis in the deck. That was just an incredibly high value play for us there. Okay, so our board is stacked. We have 2 blockers. We have 2 other cards on the board. He wants to get rid of both of them. Swinging in for 8. We're going to take that just in case. Let's see what he does. Okay, then he's going to swing for 5. Okay, so it's telling me he's going to have a 9 Dawn play, and I expected 9-cost Lin. I got a little bit surprised here. It was not 9-cost Lin. It was 9-cost Kaido, which is a much more high-impact play here. He's going to go 10 into 0. He knows, guys. He knows how important that Monchery is there. He knows how important that Monchery is. And it is extremely important. Now, what I need to set up here is I need to try to set up. So, pause. Make sure you guys understand how the rules work in this game. I have 7 cards in my trash, right? I'm going to try to pause it right on it. So, notice in my trash it says a 7 over the Monchery at the bottom right. Okay, I have 7 cards in the trash. Tempest Kick requires you to have 10 cards in your trash in order to use the -3 cost. It always draws a card, but if you want to do the -3 cost, you have to have 10 cards or more in your trash. If I swing with my leader, it will put 2 more cards in my trash and put me at 9 cards in trash. Then, when using Tempest Kicks and when using events in cards like Tempest Kick that check the cards in your trash, in order to use the effect, you actually pay the cost and the card goes to your trash. So it counts itself in the cost. So we will be able to do -3 with that if I swing with my leader first. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's see what the opponent, or let's see what we choose to do here. I do want to establish, I really want to establish a Kuzan this turn, but I don't think I'll have all that I need. I'm going to get rid of the the Kaido here. That is of utmost importance. So we fill up our trash. We're up to 9 cards in trash. We use the Tempest Kick, which ends up being our 10th card, so we can use the cost reduction. He's now down to 5 Dawn. So right here, we're going to be able to swing for 7 with our Brook. Okay. We're going to swing for 7 with Brook here. Yeah, I'm just making sure I did the math correctly. I wanted to maybe be able to play out the Brook. That would have been nice. Excuse me, we're going to play out, yeah, we're going to swing for 7 with Brook, -1 more to the Kuzan, or the Kaido. I keep messing up all these K names. And now we're going to play out the Garp. We're going to trash the Kuzan, KO and Kaido. We have 2 very strong characters on the board here. My opponent needs to use this turn very wisely. But here's the thing, guys. They only have 6 Dawn this turn to work with. They only have 6 Dawn this turn to work with. They're going to go 12 into 6. That was a good call. I am going to save this Brook here. And they didn't even swing into the Brook, which was wild to me. I thought they were going to go 7 into Brook, and I was going to 2k to get out of that. But hey, that's fine with me. If you think that Brook's not going to get value here, I've got really bad news for you. He absolutely will. Okay, so we're going to use this. So we swing it with Brook first, -1 to the character. We swing with the leader, -1 more to the character, filling up our trash, playing out the 10-cost Kuzan. And guys, look at my hand. He's just now getting back to 8 Dawn, by the way. He has to get rid of this Brook, and he's just ignoring it completely. I would have saved the 5k. I'd have just 2k'd out. But, guys, he has to get rid of this card. Okay, is he going to do it here? Let's see. He might go 8 into 4. Let's see what he chooses. He has to do Dawn -1 to tap down a character and give it Rush. 7 into 4. I do let it go because I have another one in hand, and at this point, guys, it honestly doesn't even matter. Watch this. We're going to swing for 5, -1 there. Now, when I play out the Brook for the turn, that card's gone. If I choose to do that, we'll swing in for 10 first. This should go through. We'll play out the other Kuzan, and that is that, guys. That is this is not the position you want to be in. Okay, so my opponent is just thinking here. I think we did have a little bit of conversation over there. We were talking about how, like, when you have double Kuzan down, this ends up being a pretty extended turn, if I'm not mistaken. But they end up asking me or talking about something about with 10 cost Kuzan, and I'm like, yeah, that effect does stack. I think they were asking me if the effect stacks or something like that, and it's like, yes, it absolutely does. So now whatever card he plays for the rest of the game with these 2 cards on the board, that is going to be a 0 cost character. Okay, and I have a Brook in hand, I have Rob Lucci in hand. I can clear an entire board right now. Guys, this is how crazy it would be. So every card on that they play is 0 cost. I could KO 3 10s at this point with what's in my hand. I could KO 3 10 cost characters if he played them all. If he somehow could play 3 10 cost characters on the board with only 9 Dawn, if I just let him, like, hey, just go ahead and just play your whole hand out right now without using any Dawn, I think I could just KO everything he played. You know, except 2 characters. And that's how strong this board state is with having a Rob Lucci in my hand and a 3-cost Brook. With the double Kuzan on the board. And again, like I said, he was talking to me on the side. We were talking about how like everything he plays is just going to get, you know, it'll all be reduced by 10 on my turn. And, you know, I attack him with my leader, and plus he has 0 Dawn, right? He has 0 life. He's not going to be able to get. And look at this, guys. He had triple Gum Giant in hand. It still is just not going to save him, because what I would have done there. Let's just pretend he just kept all of his Dawn active and just passed the turn. Let's just see if he can survive. Okay, I'm going to swing for 11 for the first attack. 11. So that's going to be Gum Giant plus, let's just say, trash the 1k. And then even if he got, like, nothing but 2ks for the rest of this time for what he needs here, so that would only get him to 9. So he'd have to go 2k to get out of that one. Now, he would only have the 2 Gum Giants in hand. So let's just say he didn't even play out this Luffy for the turn, because that's his only way of trying to survive, and it still wouldn't work, right? Because the first 11k is going to be the Gum Giant, and then 2 more cards from hand. So he's going to go down 2 cards in hand at the end of that. Then on the next 11k attack, you guessed it, Gum Giant, and then 2 more cards from hand. And then for my final attack, it's going to be for 13. So it'd be swing 11, swing 13. He just can't get out of it. I had 2 life this whole time. I have, you know, a decent amount of counter power in hand. It's just game over, though. Good game to my opponent. Those were some really fun games. All right, so let's go ahead and break down the deck list one more time. At the very end there, this Shirahoshi was just insanely clutch. This Shirahoshi came in. I didn't see it a whole lot through all my games, but at the very end there, being able to use that against Sangoro, against Purple Luffy, awesome, just awesome. And I will say, it kind of makes me think, so guys, if you're trying to make this deck on a budget, sorry, there is no replacement for Brook. I'm just going to say it right now. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. If you saw everything I was doing that game, I think you know right away, there just is no replacement for this card. It just does too much, especially in conjunction with the Manshuri Rebecca combo. You can't replace the effect of what Brook is doing. If a good replacement comes by, I'll tell you guys about it for sure. And if you guys want to recommend something like the maybe 3 cost, let me just bring up all the 3 cost cards in here. I guess technically you could maybe put in Kobe, but now you're trashing cards from hand. I would say probably the second best card to what you're trying to do in the 3-cost slot would probably be Kobe. But again, this is not the same. It does hit a bigger target, but you're trashing cards from hand, and that's what really hurts you. And this does not have a win attacking effect to KO characters either, while the Brook does, and it doesn't trash any cards from hand. So again, yeah, if you're on a strict budget, you do just have to replace Brook with this card, I think. I think it's your best bet. Now, if you're trying to replace the Laboon, honestly, I'm actually considering just going up to 4 Shirahoshi over the Laboon, period. Laboon is still very good, and it becomes a target on the board that they have to deal with. But I'm just going to tell you right now, that Shirahoshi in that last game was really nice. It was really nice having that, because I play it down, I -4 to the character right away, and now I have a blocker. I can choose to block or choose not to. Whereas with Laboon, yes, you can play this down and activate it right away to do the -4, just like Shirahoshi does. And if they don't get rid of it, you actually get more value from the Laboon with your your follow-up removal from cards like Brook or from Rob Lucci. However, if they start attacking into your Laboon, you just can't save it. Whereas if they attack into your life, you can just choose to take the hit and keep your blocker on the board. Like, you might be able to save the Laboon. It depends on the situation, but hopefully you guys know what I'm saying. The Uda was actually very nice. This card came in clutch many times. It came up clutch very often. This is a good card here. Big fan of this because they can't deal with it. A lot of leaders, if you can't attack into this card, then it's just constant value every turn. You're doing -3 cost of characters a turn with your leader attack plus the Uda. Well, now your Brook's popping a 4 or less. Your Rob Lucci's popping like a 6 and a 1 or a 2 and a 5, right? Just it has so much extra range. Now your Jack's hitting anything in the game at that point other than another fellow Jack. Garp's hitting 8s, or excuse me, I can't do math. It's hitting 7s. The Uda increases your range by so much. It's actually really nice. And if they do remove this card, it's not really a big deal, right? We don't really care if they remove this. It's going to already have done what it needed to do, because if they have to use some type of effect on this to remove this, like an event, okay, you just used like some type of event to remove my Uda. I don't really care, right? I honestly don't really care too much about that. So really good stuff there. And honestly, that's about it, guys. I will say this. The Tempest kit came in very handy at the end there. In the purple Luffy game, I did actually use the cost -3 to do something. But one card I think we need to consider in the place of this, it definitely won't help the cost of the deck out, that's for sure. But I think it wouldn't be too bad to run like the 4-cost Shigan Finger Pistol. I think that would be another decent card to have in here, because with Kuzan and the Finger Pistol down, let me show you guys the card I'm talking about for those who might not know. This is the card I'm talking about right here, Shigan Finger Pistol. It is a 4-cost main. Trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, so you're already filling up your trash. That's good. And then you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 5 or less. So again, remember everything we're saying here. So if I combo this with my leader, I'm hitting a 6 or less. If I combo this with my Uda, I'm hitting a an 8 or less. It just has a lot of value, and it's filling up your trash, and the trigger hits something bigger than Tempest Kick does, than the Tempest Kick does, so it is worth a consideration. I would have to rewatch, because I was trying to get rid of a Kaido, I think, on the turn where I had to use the Tempest Kick, but it's like, okay, I probably could have done it with the Shigan Finger Pistol if I had checked again. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to check real quick, guys. Maybe we will check real fast. Let me go back to that turn where they had the Kaido on the board, and we'll do a little bit of math on it. So here was that turn. So imagine if the card in my hand right now, imagine if that card was instead of being a Tempest Kick, if it was a Shigan Finger Pistol. I have a Brook on the board, so I can do -1 and drop the Kaido down to 8. I can drop him down to 7 with my leader, and then with the Suru in my hand, I could drop him down to 5 and then KO him. So I mean, there was an option there. There was an option to get rid of the Kaido with Shigan Finger Pistol over the Tempest Kick, right? Or in that situation, maybe we don't even do that play anymore. Maybe instead what we end up doing is using the Brook there just to attack more aggressively at face with everything. Do -1 to the Luffy, -1 to the Luffy, one with -1 with the Brook to the Luffy and -1 with the leader to the Luffy, and then we just KO a 7-cost character instead, fill up our trash, and that would have only, actually, that's really a pretty nice play if you think about it, guys, because that was only I can swing for 5 with Brook and 5 with leader. That's a 1 Dawn investment on an 8 Dawn turn. Or excuse me, on a 9 Dawn turn. So then we follow up with the 4-cost Shigan Finger Pistol and then 4-cost Kuzan. So maybe that's even a better play, because then next turn we can easily deal with the Kaido just by swinging in with our Kuzan and then playing out the 10-cost Kuzan. So who knows, maybe that would have actually been a little bit better technically. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. But back to the deck list, that's just one other option for the Tempest Kick, is maybe running Shigan Finger Pistol. And, depending on how many cards were in our trash, maybe Destructive Sword of Thunder would have been a little bit better. But honestly, guys, I think the Shigan Finger Pistol is better because of the trigger and filling up the trash. Destructive Sword of Thunder can technically hit a 6 or less if you have 15 cards in your trash or more. But the trigger requires you to rest your leader to KO a 6 or less. So I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather just have the all-around utility of Shigan Finger Pistol. I think there's a lot of potential here. But other than that, guys, the Brook really is like kind of the star of the show in the early game. Like just going between your Brook and Rebecca combos, just getting rid of whatever you need to. You know, comboing that with cards like Kuzan, comboing that with cards like Shirahoshi or Laboon. You can just and Uda, of course. You can KO pretty much anything you need to in the early game with your Brook plus Rebecca combos. And then in the late game, you're able to KO just anything with your Jack plus Kuzan. I mean, it's just, you're just wiping their board every turn while cycling your hand. It just becomes a very good spot. So like I said, I think one card I will really consider adding to the deck is actually getting rid of this Laboon and going up 2 more Shirahoshis. It goes up my blocker count, because right now I have 10 blockers. So, you know, 2 Shirahoshi, 4 Bartolomeo, and 4 Rebecca. But let's be honest, we don't really want to use Bart unless we have to as a blocker. We want to use Shirahoshi and the Rebecca as blockers more often. And the Laboon, yes, it does have repeatable value, but Shirahoshi might just have more overall value in this situation with what we're doing with this board. Like with this with this type of deck, I think the Shirahoshi might just be strictly better. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Again, especially considering that we can pull Shirahoshi out of the trash with Rebecca, and then like that can be an entire turn for us where it's like a 10-dawn turn where we go, okay, if I already have a Brook on the board, I might go, okay, play out Rebecca, pulling back a Shirahoshi, and then, you know, playing out whatever with the Rebecca or keeping it in hand. And then with the remaining 6 Dawn, play out another Shirahoshi, -4 to your character, swing with my leader, that's 5 altogether, play out a Tempest Kick, that's 3 more, and then we could pop a 9 or less with a Brook or something. You know, it all depends, right? You know, I know we said that this might be a Shigan Finger Pistol in the future, but I'm just giving some options here. If we had a Kuzan, we could hit a 10 or less instead of, you know, and this could still be a Shigan Finger Pistol, but in that example I just gave with Kuzan down, we can get even bigger targets. So, you know, there's a lot to be said there. I do really like this Shirahoshi though, and I honestly feel like it basically won me the game against that purple Luffy, because they kept trying to slam down these Sangoros, and I'm just like, nope, you know, do not pass go, do not collect $200, you're not getting there, you're not coming, you know, you're not getting out of this one, right? And we're establishing a blocker as well. It kind of allows us to protect our board, and that there you go. So that's what I'm really trying to say. The most important factor to think about with this Brook is I don't even want to pull it back with Rebecca. I don't want to let this Brook go. I'd actually rather keep this thing on the board, attach a Dawn every turn, swing for 5, and pop a character. So if I can actually hide behind Shirahoshis and Rebeccas to keep this card alive, then I'm going to do that. Now, yes, we can still get this card back from the trash with our Rebecca, Monstri, and all that, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just keep this on the board and just hide behind a wall of blockers like Shirahoshi, Rebecca, and Bartolomeo. So again, that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, other than that, guys, this deck, I did not come up with it. Remember, I got this from the East from either OnePieceTopDecks.com or GumGum.gg. I made a 1-card modification, but this deck felt like it was very fine-tuned. I mean, you've got a lot of 2 of cards here, you know, 2 Laboon, 2 Garp, 2 Uda, 2 Shirahoshi, 2 6-King Pistol, and 2 Tempest Kick. Before I modified it, it looks like this, guys. It had only 1 6-King Pistol, and it had 1 Absalom. I don't know if there was a typo or what, but that's what it used to look like. And I just took out the 1 Absalom. I was not really feeling that. I was not a big fan of that. And I put in the 1 extra, excuse me, the 1 extra 6-King Pistol. Okay? All right, and there you go. And that's the list right there. Okay, well, that's it, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this deck, about Lucci. Have you guys still been running Lucci, or did you think it was going to fall off? I had my my reservations on it. I wasn't really sure. I thought it was going to drop down in power level a pretty decent amount. But no, just like with Doffy, I felt the same thing. I was like, man, you know, people probably aren't even going to play these leaders anymore. But yeah, I was pretty wrong about that. They're still going to be playing, you know, people are still playing Doffy right now in OP10. I do think Doffy will fall off in once we hit EB02 and OP11. Who knows? We'll have to see. The West is very different from the East a lot of times. We'll have to see what happens. But I expected Doffy to fall off a little more than it did. It did not. And then same thing with Lucci. I expected Lucci to be a little bit stronger than Doffy, though, and I do think I was right about that. I do think Lucci is a little bit stronger than Doffy currently is in OP10, post bans, and all that stuff, even though Lucci lost Gecko, Moria, and Ice Age, and Doffy only lost Jinbei. Both were very important, powerful cards. Even though Lucci lost more, I think just what Black is doing right now in the format is just so effective, especially after coming across this new Kuzan tech, this new Kuzan direction, seems really good. All right, tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me get the outro page on here real quick. Appreciate everybody for all the support, guys, whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, donating, using my TCG Player affiliate link, the Playmat supporters, YouTube members, Discord community, however you help me out. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Links in the channel description. And yeah, till next time, guys. Peace.